So let's talk about the conscious love and dating method. I have several principles to it. I'll just share a couple of them. I know Amy speaks to you a lot about relationships, creating that sacred relationship with yourself. And that's what the conscious dating method is about. It's about spending that time while you're seeking or thinking that you're seeking someone else and actually becoming the person that you're seeking, right? The love that we want to show up in our lives, we become that integration of it within ourselves. So it's healing that inner child. It's using the dating process to self-discover, to personally develop, to really integrate and know different aspects of ourselves. We don't know who we are or what our mirror reflection looks like unless we have relationships in front of us. Relationships are the mirror images of ourselves. It's our reflection. So it's not until someone shows up, whether it's a romantic partnership or not, even if it's a business or a colleague partner, someone reflecting ourselves back to us, can we really see who we are? Right? So we can do all the yoga, the chanting, the Bikram, the Kundalini, the crystals, the sound therapy. We can do all that work, and it's beautiful. I do that work. It's lovely, and it's Zen. But it's not effective if we're not using those tools in partnership. It's not effective if we don't know how those tools show up when our peace is disturbed, right? Do we remember those tools of meditation and sound healing and our chakras? We're in the midst of our pain, or we're in the midst of confrontation with a partner, right? Because that's when we're gonna need the techniques. So the conscious dating method is this opportunity for you to practice relationship with self as you date partners. So it's really a journey of discovering and learning yourself. So you date with greater inquisitiveness, curiosity, fun, and lightness. Your idea is to create positive experiences, right? So not putting the pressure on each person you meet, you connect with, is the one. How disappointing is that, right? When we go out with someone and we're just so excited, we're like, this could be the one. That's a lot of pressure on a coffee meeting, right? So the conscious dating method is about removing the attachment to the outcome. And as women in the society that's put so much pressure on us to fulfill these roles that we often don't even know if we want them for ourselves, or if we've just taken on another narrative of our church, our family, our culture, the countries we live in, etc., or are they really our own beliefs? So when we're dating, take the pressure off. Take the pressure off that each coffee date is a meeting with your future husband or wife or partner. It's just coffee. It's just lunch. It's just dinner. It's just a virtual date. For you to get to know someone, for you to get to practice the relationship skills you're learning in Amy's course, you get to practice those skills when you're dating. We don't get to practice them sitting in yoga, right? Sitting in lotus or just looking in the mirror. Those tools are great, but we have to practice those things we learn in our private practices in relationship. And we get to see how we show up. It's like, oh, I noticed I wasn't my authentic self in that conversation. I noticed they said something that bothered me and I didn't speak up or I disagreed with. Those are the practices that we need, because when we create a healthy, loving relationship, we're going to need to know our boundaries, setting and establishing those boundaries, know our values, our standards, and holding ourselves and our partners accountable. So coffee is just coffee, right? And then if it unfolds into another coffee, you're still just getting to know yourself. So the conscious love and dating method is about taking that attachment to the outcome off the table. And when you find yourself feeling frustrated with dating, like, oh, if I have to go out on another date, often it's because we put so many expectations on that date and on ourselves, right? So of course we're gonna be disappointed if we don't hear from someone and we're thinking they're the one, but if we remove that expectation, just say, I'm just gonna go out, meet people, have fun, explore, get to know myself, practice the skills I've learned. If I've been single a long time, I'm gonna practice getting back out there and just observe myself, become completely self-aware of myself. That narrative alone switches what you magnetize. The narrative that we often approach dating and relationships now is often about seeking. I'm not enough. It's scarcity. We need this thing, this job, this external object, person outside of us to complete us. And when we have that narrative, that's the level at which we attract, right? From a scarcity, desperation, clinging, holding on to this idea of something that we really want. But when you really switch that narrative, and not just in, in verbiage, but like you become that new belief that I'm enough. I'm enough already. I'm good enough. I'm lovable. I'm loved. I'm loving. I deserve love. That your cup is already full. That your heart is already whole. Doesn't mean your heart's not got a little, oh, here we go. Perfect heart. This was the logo for my retreat. And you see, it's a very imperfect heart. It's got different colors. It's got splashes. It's got breaks in there. It's got some, cracks. But guess what? It's still a whole heart. And that's what I think some of our hearts might look like on the inside. They're fractured. They're wounded. Maybe a couple pieces have sort of splattered off, but it's still connected to the whole. So no matter what we've been through in our lives, whatever traumatic experiences we've had, the heart is whole. And it's perfect just as it is, right? It's imperfectly perfect. So dating from that approach that you are enough, remembering that daily, that you are enough. Because society would tell us every day that we're not, and that you're not a complete woman unless you're married or you have children or you've reached this level of success. You'll hear that narrative over and over and over again. And when we believe that narrative, we will attract a partner at that level. So just shifting the mindset alone to I'm enough and I'm going to be out there just dating, getting to know myself, have fun. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you, if it's been crickets and quiet in your dating romantic department, it will change because you're creating a different energy of attraction. Right? You're saying already, I'm enough. You're creating fulfillment in your life. If you don't have purpose and fulfillment, make that what you seek. Right? Seek joy from within, but when you're exuding purpose and fulfillment in your heart, it emanates, and it's like radiance, and people are attracted to it. Right? We literally attract people to us from the inside out. So if you're struggling with meeting a partner, one of the things I would first ask you is, how fulfilled do you feel in your life? Personally, professionally, and wherever you feel that your life could improve, focus on improving those areas of your life. Because when you're shining and glowing in that area, you're going to shine and glow to the world. And people see you and they will be magnetized toward you. They will want to be around you and wonder, what does she have? I want more of that. I want to be around someone who's happy. Because no one wants to be the responsibility of anyone's happiness, the complete responsibility. That's a lot to be accountable for. And if we're waiting for that partner to save us, to rescue us, to make us feel loved and good enough, we might feel that for 5 minutes, but it won't create the longevity, the foundation of a healthy, loving relationship. Soon that novelty will wear off and you'll be looking for more and more and more for your partner to give to you. It will be an insatiable desire that no other human can fulfill for us, right? It's God-given. It's our birthright to know and feel and experience that love within ourselves. So we can't give God-based needs to humans. We just can't, right? People can't fulfill godly needs and desires. So seeking that relationship, for me, I'm a very spiritual person and God is my source. So whatever is your source, fill yourself with that. Fall so in love with that. And that is what will bring you what you want in your life, purpose. I wouldn't have found this work that I do that I'm so passionate about if I had first not gone through some grief and some pain of my own that allowed me to really unmask this heart of mine, right? That was so imperfect, but really nurturing it and giving it what it needed, suturing parts of it back together and making my journey, my walk, my pain, my story, right? You make, I think Amy, I think you might say it, you make your mess your message. And that's really what happened for me. And had I not struggled with being single and disappointed and heartbreak and wondering why it hadn't happened for me and, going about it all wrong and wondering why men weren't approaching me. And, if I had not explored those things and really took the time to nurture and heal myself and make this my passion and my purpose, I wouldn't be here with you today. It's taking lemons and making lemonade, but I believe it's my dharma. I believe it's my purpose. Yeah, I know you can relate, Amy. So, notice where you are in your life. and fall more deeply in love with that. Notice how you feel in your career, right? And if it's not, purpose doesn't have to be your career. People often think, well, my passion, my purpose, I can't really turn it into a job or a career. That's okay. But whatever God-given or natural-born gifts and talents that you have, that maybe you've been hiding behind the shadows of it or too afraid to step into that authenticity, maybe that's what's being asked of you before you can create this relationship. When you have that joy, and I tell you, when I found this work that I do, that I love so much, it's mine. On a good day, a bad day, it's still mine. In a relationship and not in a relationship, it's mine, right? Pandemic or no pandemic, it's mine. It's mine. This is my gift. This is my purpose that doesn't exist outside of anyone else. It's based on me and what I put into it and what I co-create with my creator. So whatever it is that you feel are your talents, I would work with Amy and in your course to really exercise and amplify your inner voice into what is authentic for you, what is natural for you, what are your God-given talents that if you silence them, that maybe the world is waiting for you to share. Because that is really our far greater calling than it is for us to be in partnership. And I know that may sound like, oh, I really want the partnership. I get it. But when you line these things up, it makes the relationship piece easier. And you want to attract someone who also has purpose and passion in their lives, right? That is not, oh, sorry, I had a call there. They're not looking for you to be their source of happiness either. So really a relationship is this contract and this covenant between two purposeful, happy, whole people. So just notice the cracks in your life and notice where you can fill them up with more love, with more self-forgiveness. Amy and I talk a lot about forgiveness and self-compassion. Notice where you're judging yourself, where you're beating yourself up in aspects of your lives or condemning your mistakes. Amy and I here again, we correlate here, we call them mistakes, right? There really aren't mistakes in life. And when we think of mistakes, it's just loaded with so much shame and guilt. But what if we change that narrative to a must-take, right? In order to make some of the choices that were not necessarily in our best interest, we had to learn those valuable lessons from. We wouldn't have learned them and gathered them to bring these new tools and strategies into our lives and into new relationships. So look at your past, right? We don't want to stay stuck in the past, but we have to examine the past to know how we got to where we are and to just glance back to know where we want to go. We have to put those pieces together.